topics, folks. Today we're going to be discussing Florida State, Alabama, Texas, and Michigan. And what we want to know is if Florida State got the tomahawk. And so, I'm going to turn to my brother from another mother and let him lead it off. What do you think, Florida State?
Well, first of all, they got hosed. I'm an Ohio State fan for all of you out there, just so you know. But here's the deal. Florida State going undefeated, they definitely should have been in the top four. I don't know how the BCS or the polling will justify or has justified that they're not in it. But not only are they not in it, they're not in one of I don't think, the top bowls at all.
Yeah, they are.
Are they?
Yeah.
Which one?
They got Georgia's going to show them what position they really in.
Brothers talk football here. Okay.
Georgia's going to show them what
I didn't
position
know
they
they had
really
to play Georgia.
They got to play Georgia, man. So so did Georgia get hosed? You know what I mean? And so it's man, it's a tough season, right?
There were so many teams.
Did Ohio State get hosed? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
no, not really.
Not really.
It was kind of bad.
So I mean, yeah, you know what? And I had an interesting take on it. So I had a friend of mine say, you know what, Florida State's quarterback he got hurt, so they weren't the same team that they were, and then they didn't look the same for the ACC championship. But the interesting take my friend had on it is that they denied that young replacement quarterback the opportunity to write his story. And so we don't know if he could have rose to greatness. It could have been his moment, and he could have led them to a national championship. So they denied him his moment. But then again, he may still have his moment because he may go out there and he may show them that they did deserve that shot, when they play Georgia. And I'm trying to stop from laughing. But when they play Georgia, he might have an opportunity to show what he can do. But again,
if they beat Georgia, man, that's gonna really make a statement.
Yeah, man, they beat Georgia. Wee. But with that being said, though, were they one of the four best teams? Right, as constructed right now, without their quarterback, can we truly say that they're one of the four best teams in the country?
Who's that?
Florida State.
No, and for me, it doesn't even go by whether you're one of the four best teams. It's whether you have the actual record. I think even what's that team? There's some little
Liberty,
yeah.
So you want Liberty to play Alabama?
I don't even know how they got in it, man.
So when they were undefeated, though, they were undefeated.
But that's my point.
Yeah.
Okay, is that it doesn't go by whether or not you should win. I mean, look at TCU last year.
Right.
I mean, they really got hosed. One thing Georgia said is they ain't got no Marvin Harrison, so we ain't too much worried about that. But my point is that I don't look at them necessarily. I think that the reason I think Florida got hosed is because they had, I think at that time, a 10-0 record or 11-0 record maybe, and they should have probably been in consideration for the top four team. Because you put Alabama, you put Texas in there as two of the teams, and both of them had a 10-1 record.
Well, Texas was 7 until Bama beat Georgia, and Bama was 8 until Bama beat Georgia. Right. And so once that one game kind of shook everything up. You know what I mean?
Right.
They couldn't justify letting Bama in without letting Texas in because Texas beat Bama.
Right.
So they had to put Texas in above Bama because Texas beat Bama on the field. Then, of course, they had to take Georgia out because Bama, of course, beat Georgia and won the SEC.
So what about Ohio State? They only had one loss, and they had a stronger record. I mean, a stronger strength of schedule than either one of those teams.
Then Texas or Bama?
Yeah.
Well, Texas.
They played Notre Dame. They played Michigan. They played Penn State. All top 10 rated teams.
Yeah, but
and they only lost to one.
But where those records? Yeah, Michigan's record is real. Penn State, when you look at where Penn State ended and where Notre Dame ended, how really strong was that?
The only two teams that Penn State lost to was Ohio State and Michigan.
So, now, you telling me that was a stronger schedule than Texas playing Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Ooh. And stronger than Texas playing Bama?
Yeah. They beat Bama.
Yeah, they beat Bama. So
it was stronger. Okay.
no,
was
well, Ohio State beat Penn State. So, right?
All in the same league. These
No.
things, I think when Texas beat Alabama,
Right.
one was in the Big 12, and the
Yeah.
other, yeah.
But Texas beat Bama, who did turn around and beat Georgia.
Right.
So you can't. Texas strength of schedule looks pretty nice. You beat Bama, who beat Georgia, and you beat OU. So I mean, they had at the time, Kansas State was undefeated when they met Texas. So I think at the time the Kansas State and Texas were both 5-0, 6-0. They had a nice schedule. Texas Tech was a stronger team than what they.
This is definitely a year to remember
Yeah.
because after this year, I'm not so sure that there's going to be a Pac-10, Pac-12. I don't think there's going to be a team, and the Big 12, I think, is totally going to change.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So there's going to be a lot of shifting around, and in 18 teams in the Big 10, that's a lot of teams.
And even in SEC, when you have Texas and OU move over to SEC. That's a big deal. That's a big deal.
That ain't no big
That's
deal.
a big deal.
Okay.
Especially when Texas steps into the SEC as the national champion and the top dog in the SEC.
And folks, the only reason why I'm having this is because I'm in a Texas area, okay? So he's a Texas fan.
So the BCS was saying that their criteria all along has been to have the top, the 4 best teams in the nation, right?
I would bet you that the BCS are all Republicans.
I tell you what, not if you ask Rick Scott right now. Rick Scott and the idiot governor, I forgot, the Florida governor. DeSantis. I bet you if you ask him right now, they're Republicans, they say no.
So what they say today and what they said yesterday could be two different
It
things.
may be true that, yeah, well, they may be Republican. Yeah, by that standard, yes. No, but they've said the 4 best teams. But I mean, do you really want a national championship where Liberty plays Michigan?
No. No.
So,
I mean, to be honest,
Yeah.
I mean, you got Ohio State playing Missouri. Missouri?
Right.
I didn't even know they had a football team.
no, I mean, you know what? Now that I tell you what, I would have liked to see Ohio State play. I would have liked to see them play Georgia, but again, Georgia's gonna, Georgia's gonna play undefeated Florida State, which is gonna be without their quarterback is gonna be a slaughter. I would have liked to see Ohio State play Florida State, and then I would have liked to have seen. Maybe you could put Florida State against Liberty, 2 undefeated teams.
I think that the BCS, or however they call themselves now, need to be fluid. And when I say fluid, this year, or let's say next year, when I think it's supposed to be what?
12. Next year goes to 12.
Okay. So if next year is supposed to be 12, then maybe what if you had the the bottom 6 could be one lost team.
It'll
And
probably be.
the one lost teams could play each other. Okay. And then you would have somehow the bottom play the top. Okay. And see how that works out.
Well, it's probably gonna be the same way. 1 plays 12, 2 plays 11. You know what I mean? And 3 plays 10. But but even if you look at it, say if they would have done 12 teams this year, right?
Right.
You would have had OU that wouldn't have made it. You know what I mean? So it's next year is going to be a controversy again because you may have a 10-1 team next year that
That's
doesn't.
what Urban Meyer said.
Doesn't make it.
He said you're gonna have 12 teams and there's still gonna be controversy.
Yeah, you're going to be 10. Somebody's going to be 10-1 and not make it.
Well, I think when you have 6 to 12, that's a better representation than having 4.
Absolutely. So I think I think that's going to be a lot better. So teams like Florida State can get in, and so I don't know. But did they? Should it have been about record? Should it have been about record? I mean, I feel bad for those kids. They won on the field.
Because
they won
it's always
the ACC
been about
championship.
it's always been about record.
It's always been
I think it should have been about record. And Florida State should have been one of the teams that was up there only because they were undefeated.
So Liberty should have been up there. So no, because then you would have.
Oh, you hit me with that.
Because you have Michigan, right? You would have had Michigan. You would have Washington. You would have Florida State, and you would have Liberty. So that means Liberty would have played Michigan. Washington would have played Florida State. So is that what we wanted to see this year?
No.
Would those have been the 4 best teams of the nation?
When you put it like that,
So who,
that doesn't feel good at all.
so who would you
That
take
was
out? Right.
my New Year's dinner, man. No.
So who would you take out? Would you take out? You would keep in. You would keep in, of course, Michigan undefeated, Washington undefeated. Would you have taken out? Would you have taken out Bama, or would you have taken out Texas?
Yeah, Oregon.
Oregon's not in it.
Okay, you got
You got Washington.
Washington.
You got Michigan. So Michigan is number 1, Washington is number 2, Texas number 3, and Bama number 4. So would you take out? Would you replace Texas or Bama with Florida State with an injured quarterback?
That'd be difficult. I would say you would have to take out Alabama.
You would take out Bama,
Yeah. Only because, like you said, Texas beat Bama.
right?
Okay. So Bama would have to drop down
Okay,
and it would have to be
Florida State
Florida State.
instead of. But so you take out the SEC championship, the SEC champion who beat the Georgia, who was the number 1 team for most of the season. So how do you take out, when you talk about strength of schedule, you take out the SEC champ?
Guys hitting me with all of them. Y'all.
No, because I'm saying,
Okay.
well, what do we do? That's the controversy. That's the controversy.
I'm not you bringing up good
So-
stuff. Like,
Who do
Yeah.
you take out, right? So I mean, it was tough. It was tough. It was a tough decision for the BCS. So that, I mean, again, you feel sorry for those kids. You feel they did everything they were supposed to do.
they did everything that they were supposed to do.
Yeah.
Okay. And they should have been there. I don't know what you could have done to made it any different than what it was.
Right.
Okay. I don't know what you could have done.
Right.
Because based on what you're saying, you might have had to take out both Texas and Alabama and put Florida State and Liberty.
And Liberty in there. Yeah. So how does that work? You know what I mean?
Man, that
So-
would have been a terrible
Woo,
year.
yeah, I don't. Yeah, that been. Yeah. So, and again, like they say, you can't. There's no way. Even just. And I'm not indicting anybody. I'm not accusing anybody. But leaving out the SEC as a competitor for the BCS monetarily, that was a no-go. I'm with Dion on that. There's too much money involved. You're not gonna leave out the SEC champion. I don't care if they had 2 losses. You're not gonna leave them out.
Right.
You're not gonna leave out both Georgia and Alabama.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just
Right.
money, man, just money. And then Texas, that's money. That's money too. Which brings me to, they gotta keep the Red River Shootout.
That's good.
I know they're gonna keep it
That's
to
good.
at least 2036. So
That's
SEC
good.
is using their brains because that is a big money game. And
But they've
then-
been calling for it forever.
yeah,
And
well,
they just now getting ready
They
to
gonna-
make sure that it happens.
that it stays. Yeah,
Because the other thing that they need is it's automatically going to happen because they're there, but the A&M versus Texas,
that's gonna come back.
that's going to come back.
That's another big
because
money game.
That's a big money game.
I can't wait, man. Next season is gonna be just a crazy season. So,
Right.
so what are your thoughts on as we close out Hot Topics, man, on the BCS?
My thing on the BCS is that it's a bunch of bullshit. But I'm going to say, unfortunately, I'm not going to get a chance to see it, but I'm hoping that my boy Marvin Harrison, gets the Heisman tonight. Although I think Penix is the guy probably most deserving
Okay.
because he's the
Okay.
one who made sure that his team won and won in all of their games.
Okay, cool. And I'm sitting here counting BC. I'm old. It's CFP, right? It's CFP now, right?
Okay.
That's what it is, CFP. So, yeah, no, my thoughts are, man, go Longhorns. The Longhorns are gonna bring it home. The Longhorns is gonna be a rematch between Texas and Alabama. I can imagine Michigan's face when they realize that the reward for being number one is they get to play down. and I think Texas is gonna embarrass Washington. They're going to show that Washington doesn't belong there either. And it's going to be a Texas-Bama rematch, and that's going to be one for the ages. So,
And my prediction is that it's going to be Bama and Washington.
Bama and Washington. But I thought you were Big Ten, man. You gonna say Bama gonna beat Michigan?
Bama's going to be.
Is that
We root for anybody.
anybody other than Ohio State?
Right.
Oh man.
We ain't rooting for the team up north.
All right, y'all. Y'all heard that, right? We got Ohio State, 100% diehard. Root against Big Ten. And, no, Texas, you know what I'm saying? Hook 'em horns. I know you guys are going to clean up in the portal this year, too, as a result. And we'll be back next year with another championship back to back. So, with that being said, no, thank you for joining us today on Hot Topic. It's been fun. Again, Fred.
Two brothers talking football.
Two brothers talking football. And again, thank you for joining us. Fred, Sharon, we miss you. And everybody be safe. Enjoy it. All right.
All right.